Let's do some DIY card making today. This accordion gatefold card is for Christmas, but I've got other samples for you that include Christmas and autumn, and you're not going to want to miss this easy tutorial. Hi, and welcome here to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm Lisa Curcio. Don't forget to grab that free project sheet for that card I just showed you, but for the other samples as well. It's going to contain the pictures, cutting dimensions, and the supplies for all three cards. Now, don't forget about the online stamping retreat. It is coming up on October 4th in the USA, Europe, and Canada, October 5th in Australia and New Zealand. I'll share more with you during today's video. Let's go ahead and let's get started on today's accordion gatefold card. We're going to start with the base of the card. This is Secret C cardstock, and it's cut 5.5 by 9.5. And we're going to do 2 score lines. I'll be using my paper trimmer for this that includes both the scoring and the cutting blade. They navigate up and down out of the way so you can keep them on the clear track at the exact same time. The first score line is going to be at 1/2 inch. You're going to see that there are some smaller measurements to the right and of course the typical measurements to the left. Rather than measuring the 1/2 inch this way with so little to hold, I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to line it up here across the top edge, make sure it's nice and straight, and score at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to flip it so I can do the next score line. So there's our 1/2 inch score line here. The next one is at 2 5/8 of an inch, and then we'll go ahead and we'll score there as well. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. So I'm going to hold it here at the 1/2 inch once again, making sure it's aligned here at the top, and we'll score and then flip, and then again at 2 5/8 of an inch. The 1/2 inch areas that are on either side, I know it's going to be very difficult to see in the video, but it'll make more sense in a minute, are going to become tabs for the accordion portion of the card. The accordion portion is cut 3 inches by 10 5/8. Now the great thing is you can get all this from one sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're going to do 2 score lines on this one as well. The first is at 2 1/8 of an inch. The next one is at 4 1/4. And you're going to want this on both sides. So I'm going to flip it and do the exact same thing. 2 1/8 and then 4 1/4. This piece now is the accordion. We're going to go over the bone folder with the score lines. Again, the 2 closest to the center are going to come in. So I'm looking to align the top and bottom once again, and we'll flip it and do the same thing on this side. The outside edges are going to go out, which means a mountain fold. So we'll fold those and make sure those are aligned as well. And then the same thing now on this side, and we'll crease it. So now we have this accordion type pop-up. Since I know that the card base is dark cardstock and it's near impossible to see the score lines, I went over the 1/2 inch score line on both sides with a silver colored pencil. I'm taking the accordion and I'm straightening it out so it's nice and flat on the card base. Let's crease up on these score lines so that you can see them better. I'm going to come in and make a valley fold towards the center here and on this side as well, making sure your top and bottoms are aligned. These areas here are eventually going to be tabs, so they're going to go backwards, or a mountain fold here on the 1/2 inch side. So again, here as a mountain fold, and then go over it with your bone folder. I'm going to make them flat just because it's going to be easier for you to see in the video. The center score lines of the card are here. I am going to align those visually here in the center of the cardstock. The score line that's here and here, I'm just going to look center on this panel here. If you want to break out a ruler, by all means you can, and then you can shimmy this up and down until you've got it where you want it. Once you're happy with it, keeping it flat on your work surface, I want you to take a pencil. I'm going to use that silver colored pencil, and I'm going to trace the top of the accordion onto that 1/2 inch area here so that you can see it. And I'm going to do the same thing now on this side. We'll remove the accordion and we're going to come back here to the card base. We are going to cut away the top and the bottom portions to leave this tab, but I want to give you an important tip. I find that if I cut inside of that pencil line just a little bit, it's going to give me a little bit more forgiveness. I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to come in just inside that pencil line and make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to do the exact same thing here. I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut up to the crease right to where I've cut that notch. And I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on this side. And when you're all finished, that's going to leave you the tab. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it, and we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. When you're finished, it should look like this. Adhesive, liquid glue, and hot glue will not stick to this, which means I'm going to keep my work surface clean. I've got a layer of basic white cardstock that will go on here, as well as some designer series paper. This is from Traditions of Christmas. And I love that the Stampin' Up! Papers are double-sided, giving you numerous options, which means you've got a themed pattern on one side, but then you have a generic pattern that can be used most of the year, if not all year, on the other side. I'm turning it horizontally because I find I have much better luck getting that nice little border all the way around, and we'll adhere that in place. Now that we've got the designer series paper attached here, it's going to go to the inside panel. I'll put my silicone craft sheet underneath just in case any glue should come outside of it. I'm going to be using the precision glue press. You just saw me use it. Love how thin it comes out and how easy it is to crank. There's a pink stopper down here inside that keeps it from clogging, and that makes it perfect to leave on your desktop all day long while you're crafting. You'll be able to find it linked for you on my website under Shop Craft Room Favorites. You can see now that it's within this area. Since I've already showed you how I layered it, I've got another one here that's going to go on this side. Now, if you love fun folds like I do, I want to make sure you know all about the upcoming online stamping retreat. Registration just opened. It is an exclusive fun fold live card making event, but guess what? You don't have to watch live. You'll have lifetime access. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this. Remember, the tabs are going to go this way. We had mountain folds. So there's other areas here and here that will, in essence, be the front of the card when it's closed. And I chose the exact same designer series paper to go into these areas. The card inside your project sheet, I actually left this area in the center blank. I loved the cardstock. But for today's video, I'm just going to change it slightly so you can see a variation and determine which way you want to go. This is a great project for those scraps. This, however, is a larger piece. So 4 by 5 1/4 would fit here. And then I layered it like I did these on some basic white cardstock. And since it's very much the same color as this is an option of leaving it without the layer if you choose. So I'm going to add that layer today for you, adding my liquid glue and working within those score lines to the left and to the right and centering this inside that panel. I'm going to set this aside and we are going to come back to the accordion card. Here in the center is a great place for you to put your sentiment. I did stamp mine ahead of time, and I took it from the Festive Friends stamp set. Really fun and whimsical, and I love that it's timeless. I used the Secret Sea ink for the greeting. Of course, you could have used black if you prefer. I'm going to add my liquid glue, and this is going to go to the center panel, looking for that nice border all the way around. These other areas are places for you to decorate, but there's something very important about this card that you're going to need to know. This panel right here is going to end up being on the front of the card. So we're going to do this one last while we decorate these other panels, and I've got some great tips for you on how to spruce up these sections. I've got a layer of designer series paper here. This is the same one I put on the center of the inside of the card base. Everything is going to get that same white border, and don't worry about the dimensions. They're all inside your project sheet for you. I made it really easy for you. This one is going to go here to the outside panel. I chose a different designer series paper, all from the same package for this panel. It's all going to coordinate with that plaid that we chose for the card base. I took a scrap piece of basic white cardstock, the same width as the designer series paper, which is 1 7/8. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to rip unevenly towards me. And that's going to leave me a beautiful rugged edge here on the cardstock. I did do this ahead of time. I added some beautiful dazzling glitter to the top of that edge to make it reminiscent of snow. I'm going to be using my reversible tweezers to help extend my reach. I'm going to add liquid glue to the side and to the bottom. I'm going to leave the top free of glue. That is going to get adhered here to the bottom of the designer series paper, lining up the edges the best that I can. The Festive Friends stamp set has coordinating dies, which I absolutely love. And there's some cute trees and accessories in here for you to use. And I've got some great ideas for you on some of those little snowflake images. I die cut the tree from old olive cardstock, and we're going to add it behind the snowbank. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue here to the back. I'm going to switch over and use my hands for this so that I can bend that cardstock just a little bit to get that tree down inside. This panel now is going to go here. I've made another one that has some adorable stars, and you're going to see that they have shimmer on them. That's the tip I'm going to share with you next. Determine how much space you're going to need, and then you're going to add liquid glue to the area that you want to cover with glitter. So I'm just going to work back and forth, filling it in, going to the outside edges as much as possible. I'll lay that here. I like to work over a coffee filter, and I love this glitter. It's extra fine, and I love the shaker top. And of course, there's an area to pour it if you prefer. I'm going to hold this, and I'm literally going to shake it on right over the coffee filter. That's going to do two things. It's going to help contain the mess, and it's going to allow you to pour the excess back in the bottle. If you have areas that you want more solid, as the glue dries, you can fill it in, but it's really quite forgiving. You can even take the glue in the cardstock and press it inside the coffee filter. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me lift it. And you're going to notice that it kind of flattens out the glue and the glitter just a little bit to make it easier for the next step. I'm going to open up the bottle for the glitter. I am going to pinch the coffee filter and pour the excess glitter right back into the bottle. By pinching the coffee filter, you've created a funnel. Paper coffee filters can be found at your dollar store and then just thrown away. When you cap it, just make sure you've got your shaker area closed, and then it's ready for the next use. Now you might be looking at this going, what a mess. I don't want to deal with that. Well, you know what? I felt the same way until I came up with a great remedy. And it's one of these sticky rollers. I actually got this one at the dollar store, and you can buy refills there as well, or you can buy the little fancier ones, and you probably already have one at home. But look it picks up all the glitter perfectly. I can use it on my work surface to make sure all those little stray glitter pieces are picked up. Once it's dry, I added the dye to the top of that glittered area. Then what I did before I ran it through my die cutting machine, I was careful because I didn't want this glitter to attach to my clear mats to my die cutting machine. So my die is on top, and then I sandwich it with a piece of just regular computer paper, and I ran it through my die cutting machine so that all the glitter ended up here on the paper and not all over my clear plates. And that die cut the snowflakes and the small pieces here, which are exactly like the ones that you see here. Let's go ahead and let's attach these two panels next, and I'm going to talk to you about adhering these small pieces and give you some really great tips so that you can do them easily at home. Tip number 1, reversible tweezers. That's going to make your life super easy. Lay them out is tip number 2 before you stick them down, because I know that we all get really excited to finish our project, and then we're not really cognizant about where we put them. If this is too tiny for you to remember the spot, grab your favorite craft pencil, slide it over, and put a little dot where you're going to want it. That's going to make it so easy for you to determine where the glue is. I know it's not going to pick up on camera, but I'm going to take my glue press. I'm going to put a little tiny dot of glue. Like I said, the glue comes out easily. I'm going to pick this up again with my reversible tweezers, and I'm going to attach that right over that little area of glue. If that's too fussy for you, remember you can always use embellishments. Now it's time to put the two pieces together. What you want to do is align the accordion piece over the top of the base. You're going to see here if you're too high or too low, or perhaps you're not straight, which is one reason why I always like to make these just a little bit smaller than what they need to be. This is going to be your guide. The center area here, where the sentiment is, right here, is where you're going to place your liquid glue. And I love liquid glue for this because it's going to give you some shimmy time. With the glue on the back, I am once again going to look visually to the left and to the right, aligning these panels the very best that I can. I'm looking here. If my little tab is showing, I know I need to move it down a little bit. Once you're happy, go ahead and push on the center to secure the accordion to the base. If for some reason you need a little bit more forgiveness here, just come in with your scissors and cut away just a little bit more. This area will not be visible when the card is all done. I'm going to place my silicone craft sheet underneath, and I'm going to add liquid glue to this area on the tab. I'm simply going to lay the card flat, stretch out my panels, and attach it to the tab. We're going to slide over now to the other side, and we're going to do the exact same thing. If you need to do a little bit of a haircut on your tab, now is the time to do it before you secure it. I'm going to make sure this is nice and flat. I'm going to stretch it out over the tab, looking at the top and bottom, making sure that tab is covered While it's flat is the time for you to decorate this side. I have a scrap piece of basic white cardstock here and the tuxedo black memento ink, and I've pulled out that snowman image and we're going to ink him up. We'll stamp him here. I have one already colored in for you, but I want to give you a couple tips about shading because obviously a snowman is white, but sometimes it's just a bit too white when you're using darker colors. So what I did is I took the light Stampin' Blends marker and I'm going to be using the brush tip. You can use the chisel tip on the other end if you'd like. I'm going to add a little color here underneath the hat and I'm going to stretch it along the left side of his face down here towards the bottom. I'm adding some color under the scarf here and a little bit across the bottom, and a little on the snowbank. The secret to alcohol-based markers is to be patient. You need to let the alcohol of the marker evaporate from the cardstock before you continue. It's also very important that you protect your work surface because it is indicative of alcohol inks that they bleed through the backside. While that's waiting to process, let's talk about a darker shade. Here I have the Cherry Cobbler Stampin' Blends alcohol-based markers, and I chose them because they're one of the colors in the designer series paper. Whether you use the light first or the dark is just a matter of preference. It's entirely up to you. Today, I'm going to use the dark first. I'm going to work in this area here, and I'm going to add the dark here and a little bit above the brim of the hat, stretching it across the top. That also will need time to process. And while we're waiting, we can move to other areas of our image. And I'm going to lighten this up so it looks a little bit more natural. And to do that, I'm going to be using the color lifter. This is a colorless alcohol marker that will move and lift that's already been placed. I'm going to use the chisel tip for this, and I'm going to come back right over those areas where I had put the light pool party down. And I'm going to put the alcohol right over the top. And as it processes, you're going to notice that it's going to start to become lighter, looking more faded. This is a great tip if you want to ground an image or you want to add just a slight amount of color to images like animals and, of course, snowmen. Now that the dark has had time to process, we're going to come in with the light marker. We are going to pull the dark into the light. Don't worry if you're in a little tiny area and you don't get to blend everything perfectly, because as it dries, it's going to become more of its natural tone. Now there is a die that coordinates with this, which means you don't have to fussy cut it with your scissors. And I did do that ahead of time, which is here. You'll notice I've already done the brim of his hat. Let's go ahead and let's do that pom-pom too. Really cute to add some holiday sparkle here. My Take Your Pick tool is one of my very favorite accessories next to my reversible tweezers. The tip dials out so that you have a little spatula to get up underneath your mistakes. But I love that paper piercing tool attachment because it's nice and pointy. And guess what? While that glue is still wet, if I've exceeded an area, all I have to do is wipe it off. And if you're wondering what you're going to do with it now, remember that coffee filter? Go ahead and just pinch that right inside of there and clean off the tip. And that's going to allow you to fix any areas for which you've got a little bit too much glue or too much glitter. You'll recall that those snowflakes not only include those little tiny pieces that we've used here, it also includes these larger snowflakes that we've used and we've got here. And I didn't see any sense in wasting them. Remember I told you that this left panel is going to be the front of the card. I know instinctively I'm going to want something right here at the top. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue there. I'm going to use my reversible tweezers and pick up one of my snowflakes. And I'm going to attach it here. I'll wait on the other two because now we're going to add our snowman. I'm going to be using dimensionals for this because I want him elevated. I'm going to flip him over and I'm going to make sure that we balance these well out for mailing. Once again, that Take Your Pick tool is going to help me remove those paper backings. My snowman now is going to get attached here near the bottom center of this panel. These last two snowflakes are going to require that we close the card. So let's stand it up and you're going to see how these areas are open. And the accordion is going to fold towards the center, which means it's going to be freestanding for display. This end on the right will come in. This end on the left will become the top of the card. Let's take these two snowflakes and let's determine where we want them. As great as those little snowflake areas are, I could not resist putting these little tiny iridescent pearls on the top. And again, my Take Your Pick tool comes into play. That putty tip is going to allow me to pick up those tiny pearls, and I'm able to place them right in the center of my snowflakes. Give them a good push so they're stuck in place. And we have our card. It's going to fit in a standard envelope. It is going to be thicker than normal. It will need extra postage, but it's quite worth it. When the receiver gets it, they are going to open and it's going to accordion pop. It'll be freestanding like I showed you. We've got some decorations on the inside. And of course, those snowflakes, we didn't have the heart to waste when we did the tiny ones here on the inside. Should you need more area to sign your name or leave a larger message, flip the card base over, add a layer of basic white cardstock, and you can do that here to the back of the card. Now, I have several other samples to share with you. My next card uses the Peace on Earth bundle. I always love a stamp set with a bunch of sentiments. Not only do you have Christmas, but you've got messages here you can use all year round. It's got coordinating dies. They have beautiful doves and, of course, labels and some greenery. Here's my accordion. There's my dove on the front. I heat embossed my greeting. Showed up beautifully with white embossing powder. I kept the background muted and simple, added some very simple gems, and then when you open it, I've used beautiful designer series paper from that series. The designer series paper is called Peaceful Garden. Added a sentiment from another stamp set, and I've got a gorgeous and simple card. And I've got one more for you. This last one is for fall or autumn, and it uses two bundles, the Gathering Moments bundle. Look how abundant that is, but it also uses the Amber Autumn bundle, which I absolutely love. So I've mixed and matched the greetings and the dies to come up with this. This stunning card is exactly like these. The only difference is I put all the images on a belly band to help keep the card closed. So the receiver would slide it off, and of course it's going to reveal the inside of the card. I left it very rustic so that it felt like fall, added my autumn wishes to the inside, and of course if you need more room, you can add your panel to the back. So this one, of course, would have the belly band to go with it. Regardless of which one that you choose, you've got some great options on not only a closure, but how to decorate your cards. Which card is your favorite? Your feedback is so important to me as I design new projects. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. We talked a little bit about the online stamping retreat during the beginning of today's video, but I want to give you a little bit more detail about it because it's an all Fun Fold exclusive live streaming event. But you don't have to watch live if you don't want to. You have lifetime access. Gina and I partner with Kylie and Bruno Bertucci, who live in Australia. They're amazing paper crafters. If you haven't checked out their YouTube channel, make sure you do so. Over at onlinestampingretreat.com, you'll find all the information for this session 3 for 2025. Again, it's October 4th in the US, Canada, and Europe. October 4th if you're in Australia or New Zealand. It's $45 for the entire day of live demonstrations, again with lifetime access. But the best part of all is you're going to get a huge tutorial booklet with all the finished projects inside of it. Now there are over 30 projects in all, and we always throw in a bonus project for you. And if you're wondering how you would ever navigate a PDF tutorial booklet that big, we've got you covered. We have a cover page, and that cover page is thumbnail driven by the picture. Simply click on it and it takes you right to that specific tutorial. But that's not all. There are 50 giveaways throughout the day, and it doesn't matter what country you live in. You'll have immediate access to the retreat once you sign up. Registration ends the day before the retreat starts. So head over to onlinestampingretreat.com and get signed up. We cannot wait to share the day with you. And if you'd like to support us here at Lisa Stamp Studio, there's lots of ways to do so, and those are all linked in the video description below. But one of them is by joining my YouTube channel members. Members get exclusive perks like custom badges and emojis and the opportunity to buy merchandise that we have designed. Simply click the join button right under today's video. Make sure you check out these other videos that I'm going to put up here on the screen. And as always, I'm so grateful that you joined me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great day.